Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Bank of an Extraordinary Life. I am your host, Kathy Razai Darigar, and today I want to kind of go over a few things based on the discussion I've been having with young people and people my age. There's a lot of different things that are going on right now that is causing people to really question everything in their life. And one of the things I often talk about is that you have to have a well balanced life. There are people who work a lot, don't have any time for play. There's people that have a lot of time for play and don't have enough work in their life. And you have to have certain things that are constructed in your life to make your life extraordinary. And how do you do that? Well, you've got to kind of think about this. A lot of people say, well, I don't have time for that. We all know. We all have 24 hours in a day. You choose how to spend your time. If you're working 8 hours a day and you're sleeping 8 hours a day, I'm hoping you're sleeping 8 hours a day. Most people don't. I do. So you've got another 8 hours left in your life. So what do? Maybe you work out for an hour. Maybe you're watching TV. Maybe you're cleaning or playing with your kids or whatever it is that you're doing. Everyone's got the same amount of time. I hear often from people, well, I don't have time for that. Hey, and guess what? I say that quite often myself because I am so busy trying to run my business and take care of my family. And it sometimes becomes a little bit overbearing to try to find time for activities that are important to me, so they get shoved off to the side. So you have to really make a schedule and prioritize. Everyone says quite often to me, well, I want to be able to read books, but I don't have time to read books. You have time to read books, it's just not important enough for you. So let's talk about that for a minute. Why are things that you know you should be doing you don't do? It's because they're not important to you. How do you go about being able to prioritize those things? Well, you have to make a list and then decide which of those things you're going to do. If you feel like doing your laundry is more important than working out, then that's the choice that you've made. And I am never going to be the person that tells you, hey, you have no choices in life. Everything just happens to you. We all have choices that we make. I prepare my food from home quite often. Why? Because I don't want to eat out. Because there are things that are out there and they put in food that I don't want to put inside my body. Guess what? That means there's more preparation. I have to spend more time shopping, right? When you're eating fresh produce, you got to be at that grocery store every couple of days. Now, it would be easier for me to probably go to a drive through every day and not have to do any of that stuff. But what's the price I'm going to pay for that? You see, when you start thinking about these things and putting them in perspective, then you realize that you are at fault here. Okay. I believe that if you really want to make genuine changes in your life, you got to take some responsibility. Many people in this world go about that everything always happens to them. Well, everything doesn't always happen to you, right? I mean, you don't have control over something like gravity. You don't have control over the weather, but there are so many things that you have control over in your life. Most people say, I don't have time for the gym. I don't have time to prep my food. Well, what are you doing with the other time that you have? We all have time. You have to prioritize where that time is going to go. So let's talk about the 5 things that I believe are really going to help you out in your adventure, right? This life is an adventure. Do you see this life as an adventure? If you don't, then you're not going to be excited. You have to get excited about life. And too many people are walking around half dead already, 1 foot in the grave. And I'm talking of all ages. I talk to young people and they're just burnt out already. And I'm thinking, my God, I was in my 20s. I was just like full of life. I was going to conquer the world. And I still feel like that at 48. But what happens to people? Where do they lose their passion? Where does it go? Well, you know what you did? You allowed the world to break you. You allowed the world to break you. We just lost one of the greatest speakers of all time, Bob Proctor. You know, this man, I discovered him back in 2016, and I wish that I had known about him when I was much younger. It would have made my life a lot easier. But he talks about somebody else might be responsible for making you who you are. You're responsible for changing. There are too many adults that go about their business blaming everybody for everything that's happened to you. You're an adult. Guess what? You have a choice of what you want your future to look like. The power of the future is within all of us. Let's get into this and how we're going to really have the right perspective and make our lives extraordinary. And anyone that knows me knows that I am excited. I support people. I'm people's cheerleader. I'm my own cheerleader. So I don't need cheerleaders. You know that? Because I'm the person that cheers myself on. But you know what? A lot of people do need cheerleaders. And I want to be that for people because people need very little encouragement to do well in life. And oftentimes we don't give it to them. There's so many pessimistic people out there. Day after day after day, it's complain, complain, complain. You know what people complain about? Things that they can change. 90% of the things that people complain about, they can change. So why is it that they don't? They say, I've always been this way. Well, if you've always been that way, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. Things are not going to change for you unless you change. And let me tell you, changing in adulthood is so difficult. I am constantly battling this all the time. But you have to adapt and change and have an open mind about things. You have to have a mind that's open. Wayne Dyer, who passed away as well, one of my favorite speakers, talks about having a mind that's open to everything and attached to nothing. How many adults that you know that have that capability? Not many. How many children that you know? Children are like sponges. They're always wanting to learn new things, and they're not attached to a lot of stuff. It's when they become adults that they're now closed off, their imagination's gone, their hopes and dreams have been crushed by whether it's the school system, their parents, their friends, their neighbors, the news, whatever. But adults, you got to find that passion again. And where are you going to find that? So let's dive into these 5 things. Now, these are things that you can focus on to create the life that you want. And there's more ability in the power of you changing your life than you imagine. We often give our power away to everybody else. I want you to find that inner strength and that power that you have within you. We all have it. You have to decide where it is and how to manifest it. And so one of the things we want to talk about is that what are the things that you're doing in your life that are absolutely destroying your well-being? And we're all doing those things, right? We've had those negative automatic thoughts, the inability for you to control your emotions, not getting enough sleep, drinking too much alcohol, and let's not bring in if you're doing drugs on top of that, hanging around the wrong people, right? Your peer group. Peer is a choice. You can change your peer group. Who are the people you hang around with? They're always negative people. It's always this, it's always that. You're going to feel like that all the time. Balancing it and having people around you that are going to make things better for you. So let's talk about the 5 things. The first one is something you do. Okay, that can generally be your career, your job. You have to have some type of aim at life and some kind of purpose when it comes to making money, right? Our world is not set up for you to survive without money. And if you do, then, kudos to you. The rest of us in the Western society have to work in order to make a living. Now, number 2 is something you love. I mean, what are you passionate about, right? I am passionate about helping people, and I plant seeds everywhere I go. And even though I'm a very busy person, I make time to mentor young people. If they reach out to me, if they have questions, they need guidance, they need advice, whatever it may be, I make the time to do that. I go and do speaking engagements at schools. I talk to young people when I'm out, like at the gym or at the coffee shop. You have to have something you love. And my love that's deeply rooted into my very being is to be able to help people. I've always loved to do that. As a little child, I used to go with my dad to go give donations of blankets and such things to the poor. And as I grew up, I volunteered for charity groups. I continued to give my time and money to organizations that I value. You just want to be able to have something that you absolutely love. And it has to be something that's passion driven. And then number three is something you look forward to. I am always looking at things that I want to do in the future. What can I do in the next 3 months? What can I do in the next 6 months? And actually, so with the pandemic, it's kind of put a lot of damper on a lot of my plans that I like to do. But I love cars. I'm a big car person. I used to race cars when I was young. So that's before all the Fast and Furious stuff came out. So I love cars, and I love cars of all different decades. And so the car shows is one of the things I miss. I just looked one up and it's like, oh my God, it's in December. Well, it is right now, March. December is a long way. But hey, I'm super excited about December because I have that to look forward to. I look forward to the beautiful spring that's going to come up. We're very lucky here in Southern California, especially where I live. I've got the Olive Oil Festival coming up and the Lavender Festival that's coming up, and we've got the spring flowers that are going to bloom. We got so many things that I'm excited about being able to experience with other people. And then, of course, beach weather is around the corner. Although here in California, we go to the beach, the water's a little cold right now. But definitely for me, May is the kickoff season to be able to go enjoy the beach and the sunshine and the water and to be with friends and be able to just detach from our lovely devices. So it's just things that you have to be able to look forward to. Maybe it's a trip you want to take. Maybe there's a class you want to take. Whatever it is, you have to have something that you are looking forward to so that when you get up each day, it's going to be a great day. And you can also set those up for daily activities. Are you going to see your friends at the gym? Or are you going to see your favorite barista? Or are you going to take that walk and go by that neighbor? I mean, these little things are all small tokens of appreciation and deposits into your life so that you continue living a life like it's magical. Because life is magical. Do you know what are the odds of you and I being able to be here at this moment in time? I mean, I'm not going to go into all the biological factors that it takes to make a baby and have one, but the fact that we are here, the odds of it, it's a great time to be alive. But most people don't think that, right? Because this is all we've known. We've never known anything else. Once again, I don't want to keep bringing up the pandemic, but the pandemic has made it so there is a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of depression, a lot of unknown. But you know what? We're still around. Let's make the best of it and add some magic into your life. And if you look at everything being magical, then your life becomes magical. I look at simple things as birds and flowers, and I just think how amazing it is that we've been blessed with so much beauty in our life. Looking at the beauty in your life is very, very important. I'm not talking about the beauty that you see on Instagram because that, as we all know, it can be misguided and misleading. But the real beauty out in the world, people smiling and happiness and being able to experience joy, those are all something to look forward. One of the most important things that I believe a lot of people struggle with is you need to have allies and not just friends. Now, what's the difference between an ally and a friend? An ally is going to support you, but they're also going to tell you about yourself when things are not right. They're going to guide you and help you and see things in ways that you don't see yourself. And a lot of us are not going to like that, okay? Because that's the person that's going to push you to be better than you are hold you up higher than you hold yourself, but also call you out on your BS. And, we all know about our BS when we get in our little BS modes. And I had a dear friend of mine who passed away about 5 years ago, and that's what I really loved about him is that what I would call and be complaining, he's like, okay. I'll just use an example. If I was complaining about my dating life, he's like, stop dating the trash man. I mean, what are you going to get? You're dating trash, you're going to get trash. Well, of course, I didn't want to hear that. Like, oh my God, no, you're not. But it's true. Oftentimes, we get ourselves into places where we feel like we don't have control over it. But you know what? I know you don't get to choose who you fall in love with, but maybe you should change your criteria and standards. And that way you end up with people that not necessarily have that lusty, exciting feeling for you, but that are actually good for you. I mean, how many times do you do that? Not very often. I used to have a terrible time with picking the right partner. It was like my picker was off. And why was that? It was like different place, different face, same situation. I felt like I was with this attracted to the same narcissistic type of guy. And I had to really look at myself and say, what is it about this type of man that I am attracted to? And that was a journey that I had to go down. And let me tell you, it was not a pretty journey, but I had to really do some self reflection and say, look, what is it that I'm contributing to these relationships? And how is it that I'm picking these partners that are not good for me, that I have to save, that I always have to carry the burden of the emotional strength in the relationship and all their issues, their insecurities? And I was just done. Once you get in your 40s, you just really don't have time for a lot of BS. I mean, some people still tolerate it. I just don't anymore. Having the right allies instead of friends will help you become a better person. And we all strive to progress to be the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be. And a lot of times, your friends will side with you because they're your friends, but they won't tell you, or they don't even know, or don't have the capacity, or don't understand it because they have their own issues to say, well, I mean, you're doing this and you're always doing this, so why is this happening? We all can strive from that. I like to have accountability partners. I have them in business, and I'm starting to kind of move forward to having them emotionally as well. Is that people that hold you accountable for your behavior? If you say you're going to go do this, you're going to stick to that. But oftentimes, our friends just want to be nice and just be there for you, which is okay. I'm not saying that's all the time they have to they be constantly trying to make you a better person. 'Cause sometimes somebody just needs to be there for you to listen to. But you want people that are going to want you to be better. Okay? They're not holding you down. They're not constantly allowing for your behaviors that are not conducive to you to continue. You have to find those allies. If you don't have them, you need a new set of friends. There are out there. Artificial friendships are very common in our society, and I had many of them growing up. I had a gazillion friends, but they're not good for you. I have let go of a lot of people in my life. There are just a couple of people I've kept around still, but for the most part, I've had to let go of a lot of people because they were just dead weight holding me down. Make sure that you are aware of these friendships that are not good for you. And then number 5, believe in something greater than yourself. So, what does that mean? Why is that important? Look, we've all had those dark moments in our lives where there was something greater than us that kept us going. That could be in any moment, right? It could have been when you were a child and something traumatic happened to you. As an adult, if you were in an abusive relationship, or if you were in a car accident, or a parent passed away. There's so many examples I can think of, but I want to share with you an example that I remember as a small child. I grew up in Iran. I was born there in 1974. We had the revolution that occurred in 1979, and then immediately after that, we went into the Iraq-Iran war. And I remember as a child being very scared because they would have those massive alarms that would go off, and it would basically mean that there were fighter jets coming to drop bombs. And we had to turn off our lights and go into these like makeshift bomb shelters that my dad had made us. It was pretty scary. I'm kind of cheering up for that because I try not to relive that moment. But for me, I remember being super scared and just not knowing what's going to happen. I mean, that's pretty traumatic for a very small child. I think I was 7 at the time, 6 or 7. And so I just remember just thinking, my grandmother was very religious, so was my great grandmother. And I just remember like praying to God, like, please, like, take care of us, right? I hope you hear our prayers. And all of a sudden, I just felt very protected. It was strange. It was a feeling that came over me. And that was my first real experience with believing in something greater than myself. Throughout life, there have been so many moments that I've had to reach into that place and ask for guidance. Whether it's for myself or my greater intelligence inside me or greater being outside of me, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's there and I know I can access it. And how do you access these things? Well, you can do it through prayer, you can do it through meditation, you can do it through yoga. I cannot tell you how my life has changed through the power of meditation. And you don't have to sit down for 30 minutes of your life and, focus on a box. You can have waking meditations in your garden. You can have it under a tree. You can have a 5-minute meditation of intention in the morning of how you want your day to go. There are ways for you to quiet your mind and access that higher intelligence that lives within all of us. If you don't believe in that, I've done workshops where I've talked to atheists and they believe in science. And quantum physics tells us there is something out there. And so it's tapping into whatever that energy is for you. Like I said, it can be source, it can be God, it can be a box. Everyone has something that they believe in. And allowing yourself to be able to be protected and to be acknowledged and to seek answers from and letting go of what's holding you back. With that being said, I want you to just write down those 5 things that I just talked about and just write next to them a little something. And if you don't have anything that you can put next to them, then think of some things that would help you with that. So remember, number 1, something you do. Number 2, something you love. Number 3, something you look forward to. Number 4, allies, not just friends. Number 5, believe in something greater than yourself. I do these podcasts. I don't make any money off of them. This is not like a career that I've made for myself. I do these so that I can share with other people. Maybe just one little thing that you take away from this can be empowering enough to make a difference in your life. Because I know that there have been people in my life, and not necessarily people that were directly in my life, right? Some of the great minds and speakers of all time that have impacted my life in so many ways. I would like to just honor those speakers and that I truly believe I've came into this world to help others. And if they're not around, the world is saddened by it, but their words live on. So Bob Proctor is one of them. You can look him up. Dr. Wayne Dyer is another one. Sadhguru, who's still alive. I do watch him faithfully. So those were the 3 main speakers. Oh, and Jack Canfield. So, and there are so many other ones out there. Those have definitely made a great impact to my life. Please allow yourself some time to make your life extraordinary. It's something that you have to work on constantly. There's no quick fix answers. There's no pills. There's no class that you could take overnight. You have to be a work in progress. I am a work in progress. I am imperfectly perfect, and I strive to progress each day of my magical life. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I wish you happiness, health, and wealth.